Hey guys, before we start, a quick shout out to Alpha Dog Nutrition for sponsoring this podcast. Alpha Dog products are now available at dusupply.com, and you can use code ALPHADOG15 at checkout for 15% off and a credit for free shipping to try it yourself. Now let's get you to your podcast.
Welcome to my podcast, where we are going to talk about a lifestyle with dogs and threw in a few life lessons along the way. Whether you're a hound hunter, bird dog enthusiast, running setters, pointers, retrievers, or a flat-out running dog junkie, this podcast is for you. I am your host, Heath Hyatt, a certified law enforcement canine trainer with over 3 decades of personal and professional training and handling experience. It's time for me to pay it forward. So grab your leads, lace up those boots, and come and join me on this lifelong process of teaching, training, and learning. Are you looking to unlock your dog's full potential and give them the best nutrition possible for peak performance? Then look no further. Inukshuk has what you're looking for. Inukshuk's nutrient-dense formulas are crafted to keep your dog's energy high and performance top-notch. Packed with premium proteins and essential fats, Inukshuk delivers the balanced nutrition your dog needs to thrive. From hunting dogs to police canines, Inukshuk is trusted by professionals. Give your dog the power of peak performance with Inukshuk Professional Dog Food. Welcome in to another What's Up Wednesday. Just got in from the gym. I'm telling you, my shoulders are hurting, burning. Had to go out and feed in this single-digit weather. You know, I feel for you guys out west that's got to put up with this. I thought I wanted to live in Alaska at one point in time. Well, I have changed my thought process on that. I am not a beach goer, but I'd get into like the warmer weather a little bit better. Now, it don't have to be hot, but it's got to be above these single digits. It's been down single digits at night. I mean, looked on the news this morning. I mean, Florida's got snow. South Carolina, Hilton Head, where we go on vacation quite a bit, it's got snow. My buddy down in Myrtle Beach was posting pictures. They got snow. Jeff Shetler posted down on Edisto. They've got snow. So all these southern states are getting snow. I'm not sure they know how to act. You guys good down there? We checking on you. We're going to check on you, make sure you're good. But yeah, enjoy it. But you can have all of our cold weather and take it with you. I'm tired of carrying water and busting ice. Like I said, I'm feeding. We're watering every morning, watering after lunch, and then I'm feeding with warm water. I did it today. I've got me a system worked out that actually it works pretty good. I'm taking a 5-gallon bucket, filling it halfway up with warm water, not hot, but warm, mixing that with the food, and then going back after everybody eats and putting more water in the food bowl because the water buckets they're froze. I dumped several of them out this evening. So they'll be ready to go. I do think we're supposed to get up above 32 tomorrow, that's like short and t-shirt weather since we've been down. I think today's high was 23. So I do not envy you guys that have to deal with the cold weather up north and out west. And I'm not that type of person, or I'm aging out of that. I thought I'd like to do it, but I do not want to do it. So that's that. But today we're going to talk about, there's 2 guys that I want to talk about particularly. Both of them have since just now passed away. So it's kind of going to be like a little tribute to them. One of them is a person that I met while I was going to New York. Harris Dunlap. I say Lop because my Appalachian, but Harris Dunlap. And when I was going up north and hunting up in the Adirondacks, I was introduced to Harris, and This was going to be back in the early 2000s, if not 2000, 2001. I don't know exactly what year it was, but so I was hunting with Rodney, and, the area that Rodney lives in is very small. Everybody knows everybody. And Harris was a big sled dog guy. So Harris was interested in the dogs, and he wanted to go hunting with us. And he'd been hunting with Rodney before, but over the next couple of years, Harris would always come and tag along with us. Him and Ginger, his wife, would always invite us over, for dinner, and we'd go over and have dinner with them. And, this is one of the things that I remember very, vividly about Harris. We were sitting at Rodney's coffee table, or not coffee table, but dinner table. He'd come over and eat dinner with us. And we were sitting there and we were talking about nutrition, talking about dog food. Now, guys, this is how long ago that I started hearing about this. Back, I've been hunting. So if it's early 2000, let's just say 5 or 6 years. And back then, newly married, bought a house, had a child. My budget was not, much. It wasn't much. But at the time, I was doing the best I could do. But I also knew that I was missing something. I just didn't know what. So Harris had worked. He was working for Alpo, I believe, is what he had told me at that point in time. But we sat at Rodney's table, and we started discussing nutrition. And Harris went over a bunch of things with me and explained to me, he was the one that convinced me to start feeding Purina Pro Plan Performance, which is the 30/20. And back then, I don't even remember what it cost back then, but that was tough. So Harris gave me a couple pointers. He's like, okay, Heath, if you can't do this, do this. So that next year, so we had that conversation in 2002. Okay. Now he had hunted with us a time or two before then, but this is when we really had that serious conversation. 2002, we had a conversation about about things I could do. So I'm going to tell you what he told me, and some of it I still kind of do. I know some of you guys are doing some of this stuff already, but push it back 20 plus years ago. So Harris said, if you can't afford it, then there's things you can do. So I went he told me to go to the butcher shop and buy tripe or buy leftover scraps or whatever I could get and start mixing that in with their food. So I did. But here's one of the things that Harris taught me, and it's one of the things that I did for a long time. He said, Heath, when you're at your butcher shop, ask them if you have a good relationship with them. Ask them if they'll take all the bone dust, like sawdust when they're cutting through the ribs and the bones and stuff. All that bone dust falls off. He said, if they'll just scrape it over into a box for you, just a little box, or put it in something for you and you get it. So I did that. And Harris told me to make a golf ball size ball out of that bone dust and stick it in the freezer. And he said, Heath, when you go hunting, he said, when you get back from hunting or you got a dog that's tired, he said, give them that. It's it's bone marrow, right? So I did that, and I did that for several years. So the next year I went to Canada, and I took a cooler with scrap meat, and I took a gallon Ziploc bag, half full of those little golf ball size sawdust, bone dust balls. That's what we call them. That's what they were. And at that point, I was trying to help my dogs be more proficient and, do better and whatever. But I had numerous conversations with Harris about stuff like that over the course of time. And I remember one of my blue dog, Clyde, that I'd got from Ricky Simmons up in West Virginia, and Ricky had bred one of Dale Cameron. This is the Cameron dog, and anyway, we were running a bear, and his leg got hurt, so we took him over to Harris's, and Harris had a little I don't know what you call it, but it was a thing where you could put the dog in it and pull it up, and the dog's legs would hang there, and you could check it out. Well, when we got over to Harris's, we put him in that, I don't even know what you call that thing, like a sling, basically. And we put him up. Harris got to look at his leg, and he said, I believe his femurs broke. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I believe his femurs broke. So I called my vet. My vet said, Heath, I can't do that. You need to call Tech. So I called Tech, and Tech was like, yeah, we can fix it. Can you have him here at such and such time? It was like 2 days out. I was like, 2 days? And they're like, yeah, 2 days out. We'll deal with it. So anyway, I think I hunted the next day. And as soon as I got done hunting, I left, put Clyde up in the front seat of the truck. He laid there all the way home, stretched out. But I see Harris has, like, at one point in time, he had knee braces on both knees, and he had a big walking stick, and he'd be coming through the woods. And I mean, he just loved being out in the woods. He loved the dogs. Harris was running, I don't know if it was 6 or 7 dogs. He was pulling a 4-wheeler, and he'd do it 13 miles twice a day when I first met him. And then as he got a little older, he stopped. But I actually talked to Harris, I don't know what time it was last year, but I talked to him last year, and I hadn't talked to him since. But I talked to him about doing a podcast about nutrition and keeping dogs in shape and so on and so forth. And he was like, Heath, he's like, I'm kind of past that. I'm out of the loop. He said, all the information that I had is going to be so dated. But we had a good conversation, talked to him for a while. He always, would aggravate me about, being from Southwest Virginia and my accent. But, just such a good person, him and Ginger. And, Kara, his daughter, is out in Alaska now, and I think she's working for Anchorage College. She kind of filled in for Harley Reynolds, where he retired. So a big part of the sled dog world. And so anyway, Harris passed away December 28th. So I know I'm a little behind. This is going to air probably the first week of February. So I'm a month behind, and I apologize. I'm trying to get everything else caught up, but it's been on my mind. So I pulled up Harris's obituary, and I was just kind of reading through it. A lot of the stuff I knew, some of the stuff I didn't. But I want to, tell you a little bit about Harris and just the kind of person he was, and this is coming from his obituary. So they tell a story about that Harris had received a letter in the mail that his mom had intercepted, and it was from the American Rabbit Breeders Association, and they were requesting that he consider running for a board position. Based, and this is coming from, I'm going to read this right from it. Based on the insightful communication of breeding and husbandry, that his mom found out that, he was actually writing letters back and forth. He was 10 years old when this happened. And it's funny because I didn't know this. Again, his mom and one of the family physicians actually talked Harris out of going to vet, but he wanted to be a veterinarian. Talked him out of going to school because he was allergic to dogs. Get that? He was allergic to dogs. And when I first met him, he had a yard full. I don't remember how many, but he had a bunch. But anyway, I read through this, and it talks about, just his outgoingness and outdoorsiness. Like, he wanted to be out. He was so adventurous, and the things that he did, and just the help that he gave me, when I first met him 20 plus years ago, him sitting there and having a conversation with me and explaining things to me and telling me, giving me alternates because I couldn't afford some of the stuff that I needed to. And I did start buying the pro plan during season and trying to feed it during season when I could. I didn't feed it year round, and I didn't have enough money to feed it 2 or 3 or 4 months before. In fact, I remember a couple years I was actually mixing it with the dog chow, which is what I was probably feeding. Yeah, that was what I was feeding then. So I was mixing it with the dog chow, trying to make it better. But Harris, Harris helped me along the way, and had several good laughs with Harris. He was all the time cracking up and cracking jokes, and just a funny guy, good people. And I just wanted to talk about him a little bit and tell you guys about Harris. And along the way in our hunting careers, we always have people that help us. And, Harris was one of those people for me, even though it was, it may seem so small or mundane what he did, but he did help. And, I'm very appreciative of that. And I'm very sorry that, that he has passed away. But Rodney had texted me the day after, and I guess either Lacey or Brandy, I can't remember the text, but Lacey or Brandy one had told him that Harris had passed. And like I said, my good friend, Ben, we talk about Ben. Ben lives right there in Bakers Mill, right where, Harris lives. So anyway, good people. The second person I want to talk about is, I don't know him. I've never met him. It's been talked about pretty much all over the country. I know Meat Eater done a podcast on it, and I have not listened to it. So if I'm repeating some of the same stuff, I'm sorry. But everybody heard about the incident here in Virginia on December the 9th where a bear had fell out of the tree and actually landed on a hunter. And anyway, the hunter ended up passing away. So I just want to talk about that a little bit. And I wasn't there. I know some guys in that area. This happened up in Lunenburg. And I'm pretty sure anybody listening to this podcast has probably seen it, or somebody sent you a clip of the news article or something like that, because, it affects all of us. But anyway, this was on December the 9th in Lunenburg County. The guy's name was Lester Harvey. He was 58 years old. And, according to several articles, like I said, I've skimmed through several of them, just kind of make sure that the facts are correct. But he was standing about 10 foot from a tree, and somebody had shot a bear. And anyway, the bear ended up falling out and falling on him. And anyway, the guys there provided medical treatment and attention. All they could do, they got him to the hospital, but he ended up passing away on December the 13th. So a couple of days later. So a lot of my non-bear hunting friends, they were sending me this information, whether it was a picture of the news clipping or if it was they had copied the news article and sent it to me. But I got it by numerous people. And, I got to thinking about it, and I'm sure we all have, because it's horrible. Like, it's a freak accident, and, that is one of the dangers of what we do. But I got to thinking about it, and I thought about our group and what we do, and it was complete it was a miscommunication is what happened. So the shooter actually misunderstood what they were telling him. And, you guys, you get into a tree. We won't even talk about a bay up. Okay. George and I talked about that, a couple weeks ago, but we won't even talk about a bay up. But you get to a tree, and like it's kind of chaos. And if you've got new people or people that have not been around that, like they're kind of deer in the headlight look. They don't know. So one of the things that we have done as a group is we pretty much assign a handler, to that person. If we know somebody's going to take a bear that does never have or is unsure, like we're going to say, okay, you're with them. We'll tie the dogs up. We'll do whatever. You're with them. And, several times, like it's probably been a blessing that we had somebody standing there, like making sure that everybody was tied back, everybody was out of the way. And I will tell you that the first year of the early kill season, so that was 2019, we had a bear way up in a tree. In fact, we all misjudged the bear. But Wesley's daughter, Taylor, ended up harvesting the bear. But when it fell out, now my dogs were tied back too. When it fell out, it bounced. And when it bounced, it landed on two of my dogs and literally covered them up. And the dogs were fine. Nothing was hurt. Nobody was hurt. But, you think about that, I know I hear different things, different people, what they do, what they don't do. That's one of the reasons we tie our dogs back. I know everybody doesn't, but we do. And I make sure to tie mine way back because I don't want that to happen again. And I definitely don't want one of my dogs hurt, and much less being a human. But yeah, so, our hearts kind of go out to Mr. Harvey's family, and, as a tragic accident. But that's things that we have to think about. And I think, moving forward for us, like I'm going to make sure that our communication is clear. And like I said, we always have a handler. That's what we call a handler. Like, you're assigned to this person and you're not letting him do anything until we get the okay. And it's kind of like what George and I talked about, if the bear comes out, we'll catch it. It's not a big deal. It's not worth, injuring the animal or getting dogs or somebody hurt in the process. So, just everybody be more careful. Everybody, pay attention and make sure that you're communicating very clearly what the expectations are and what you are and are not supposed to do. Because I do know that one time we had told a guy that if it starts to come out, go ahead. Well, the bear had just literally flipped around and was changing positions, and he did shoot the bear. And I mean, of course, he killed the bear, but like no one was expecting that. No one, it kind of shocked everybody. All the dogs were not tied up at that point. So communication is key. And guys, y'all communicate. I mean, y'all are on the radios giving directions, what, where the dogs are at, how far they are, or what dogs are doing what. Like, this is a part of what we do as hunters. And, I thought it was important that, somebody probably should touch on that. And, another podcast may have, I don't know. Like I said, I know that somebody had texted me or emailed me about Meat Eater bringing it up, but nobody hadn't heard it on any of the podcasts. So I'm a little late for that, especially since it was the 1st of December. Maybe it's something we should have talked about a little earlier. We just haven't. But anyway, to Mr. Harvey's family, we're sorry. I'm sure it was an accident, but it doesn't make it any better. So you guys be safe and try to make sure that we've got that type of situation where it doesn't happen to somebody else. Are you looking to have your dog transported to be kept safe, clean, comfortable? Then the ultimate hound transportation experience is with Muddy River. At Muddy River Transport, we understand that your dog's comfort and safety come first. That's why we offer premium dog hauling services that go above and beyond. Why choose us? We use ozone sterilization after every run. We use an advanced ozone machine to thoroughly disinfect and sanitize our van after each journey. This ensures that your dog travels in a clean, hygienic, and safe environment. Top-of-the-line comfort. Our spacious, climate-controlled van is equipped with comfortable, secure spaces designed to keep your dog relaxed and safe during transport. Professional and experienced drivers. Our friendly, trained drivers are passionate about dogs and dedicated to ensuring your dog's journey is smooth and stress-free. Communication is key. Count on us for route updates, dog check-ins, and projected times. We respect your time and your dog's needs. For a stress-free, safe, hygienic transport experience, book today and give your dog the best ride of their life. We believe our customers' dogs deserve to be treated like we would treat our own. We aren't just dog haulers. We are active houndsmen. When not on the road, we are hunting our own hounds. Travel safe, travel clean, travel comfortable. Every trip, every time with Muddy River Transport. Contact us on Facebook at Muddy River Transport Group or call 1-402-274-7558. You guys have heard the first series of, I don't know, I mean, I don't really know the right name for it. You know, we'd say East Coast versus West Coast. You know, how much does a hound cost? Why does a hound cost more there than it does here when we have more of a variety? But anyway, you've heard the first series that BB and I did. And again, it's just an opinion. It's not, you know, it's not to make anybody mad. It's not to, you know, get anybody's temperature up. It's just a conversation that we have a lot when we're hunting. Like, well, wonder why? Like, what's the difference? What's this? What's your thoughts? And like I said, we're going to have a couple more people on to talk about that. But something else that that I've been really, really, really interested in here recently is I have been taking some online courses from the Institute of Canine Biology. And I've been taking on genetics. And I'm telling you guys, I struggle with some of the understanding of it. I've had to go back and watch several videos. Some of the stuff's free. You can just sign up and you can take like the coefficient of inbreeding. That's free. There's a couple other classes on there that is free. But it got me thinking about inbreeding, line breeding, outcrosses. And I want to know more. Like, I want to be more proficient at saving certain traits. I want to be more proficient about breeding traits out that are unwanted. And I thought this would be one of the best ways for me to do that, is to learn more about genetics. So anyway, I signed up and I'm taking some online courses. It's a lot of reading, videos. The videos are good. A lot of the guys are from Europe. So it's very interesting. And, you know, I think if you guys have followed me long enough, you've heard me talk about, like, some of my European guys that we get dogs from, they don't breed a dog that is kin. I mean, it's got to be an outcross. So I got to looking up the definitions of line breeding and inbreeding. So now this is coming from the Institute of Canine Biology. So this is coming from their website. You can look it up. I've looked it up on several other sources to make sure they kind of coincide with each other. But inbreeding is the mating of relative individuals who have one or more ancestors in common. Okay? That's within their 3-generation pedigree. So I thought, to me, that was line breeding. Like, if I take a granddad on the top side and I breed that grandson to, you know, a niece or great granddaughter. Like I just did that. I just did a great great grandson to a great granddaughter. That was my pearl cross. And then it says here that line breeding is a form of inbreeding. So in one of the courses that I took, and I'm not going to go into depth on it right now, but this is something we're going to be talking about over the next couple of months because I'm learning and I really want to, kind of talk about my thoughts and what I'm learning. So an outcross is basically something that is outside a 7-generation pedigree. 7 generations. Like, it's hard to find dogs that are that far out. Okay. Line breeding. Another definition is where you take somebody in the 3rd generation. So it would be a granddad, like I just said, and breed it back to something, or, breed something out of it back to whatever. You need to be that 3rd generation back. So, I'm learning. But to stabilize a breed or stabilize a bloodline, okay, let's talk about to stabilize a bloodline, there is going to have to be some type of close-knit breeding. Because once you start outcrossing, those coefficients like really go up. So anyway, I'm learning. I'm going to read a thing here about line breeding. It says it's where a breeder frequently chooses to mate parents who have a common ancestor, but who are not closely related as in close inbreeding, which means not 1st degree and 2nd degree relatives. So that puts you in the 3rd generation. Okay. The coefficient of inbreeding. One method, which is often used to measure the degree of inbreeding or how closely related the parents are, is the coefficient of inbreeding, COI or COIS, is measured into generic similarity, looking back over the generations of the animal's pedigree. So, like I said, I'm learning. Like I said, I want to learn. I want to know more. I want to add some things to my dogs. I want to take a few things out of my dogs. And I didn't know any other way to do it than just jump in with both feet and try to start learning. And I'm probably at the age where it's not going to do a lot of good for me. But, as I go through this learning phase and taking these courses, maybe it can help you guys. Maybe it can help you with breeding on down the line. But that's what we got going on. Like I said, we're just waiting for the temperatures to get a little bit better and get out of the cold and go from there. So thank you guys for tuning in, and thanks for listening to What's Up Wednesday. Do you like to be outdoors like I do? If so, unlock the wilderness with Onyx Maps. It is your ultimate guide to exploring, hunting, and conquering the great outdoors. With detailed maps, real-time tracking, and exclusive access to public and private lands, Onyx Maps is your key to adventure. Discover the possibilities and never get lost again with Onyx. So subscribe today using the promo code K920, letter K, number 9, 20, and know where you stand.